to Miss Kelly's Book Nook for episode 2 in our I Can Be a ... series. So today, I can be an architect. Just like the main character in this book, Iggy Peck, architect. Written by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. So, what does an architect do? Maybe you can be one. Let's find out. Young Iggy Peck is an architect and has been since he was 2. When he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious Ignatius!" his mother exclaimed. "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past and she realized those diapers weren't clean. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks." But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples and temples from modeling clay. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. That might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator, eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that above all, one ought to avoid them, no ifs, ands, or buts. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. "You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here, is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe?" "No, ma'am," Iggy said. He lowered his head and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now 2nd grade was a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed, and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. "We're trapped here, oh my! Alas, kids, goodbye!" Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound. Luckily fainted, not dead. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan, which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass were working together as one. What do you think they're doing? And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. What'd they do? She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces, and on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge, dangling from shoestring suspension. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. Now every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in 2nd grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker in t-shirts and sneakers talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course he's the guy who builds towers from pie. That's brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. So, that's our story. Let's have a chat. Okay. Today's topic is very important. Round in the middle of the book, we learn why Miss Lila Greer doesn't like architecture. It's because when she was 7 years old, she went on a field trip to a big skyscraper, and she got lost and separated from her group, and ended up stuck in an elevator with a bunch of French circus people. Now, this is a silly situation for the book, but it's a very important topic, very serious. If you're going on a field trip, whether it be with your school or with your summer camp, or if it's just a hangout with your friends and family, you need to have a plan on what happens if you should get separated. Who do you need to seek out to find help? And where will you meet up if you get separated? You should always have that discussion before you even leave. So, that's what I'd like you guys to talk about today. Have a discussion with your kids about safety when we go out on field trips. All right, it's activity time now. And this one's going to be super fun. So our story today, Iggy Peck Architect, was all about Iggy Peck who wanted to be an architect. So what does an architect do? Well, they design and build buildings and bridges and things like that. So today, you're going to be the architect. One of the things that architects need to think about when they're building bridges and buildings and things like that is, particularly in certain cities, is earthquakes. So if there should be an earthquake, what would happen to the building? Well, you want to make sure that you build it safely so that it doesn't fall down or completely crumble should something bad happen like an earthquake. So I have a tray of Jell-O that I made. I chose strawberry because that's my favorite, but you could choose whatever flavor you want. I also recommend doing 2 full boxes. I only did 1 box and it's a little thinner than what I'd like. So I recommend using 2 boxes. But that's going to be the ground for your foundation of where your earthquake's going to happen. So, what are you going to build the structure out of? Well, mini marshmallows and toothpicks. So I want you to take 30 toothpicks and 20 marshmallows and build a structure that you think will be strong enough to withstand an earthquake. Now you can use them however you want. If you want to try a different number of toothpicks and marshmallows, it's up to you. But if you're doing this in a group, everybody should have the same amount of toothpicks and marshmallows. So you ready to see my structure? Well, here's my tower. You wanted to try and make it tall too, so this is I only got 2 stories out of it, but I tried to go for a little triangular thing with one special little tower. So you're gonna, one at a time, once you're done, you're gonna set it on the pan of Jell-O. I can already tell mine is not going to survive the earthquake. Mine isn't going to survive just standing up in general, apparently. But once you get it on there, earthquake! And as we can see, well, mine stayed together. It just completely fell over. So as you're building your buildings for your earthquake, try and think about a strong foundation to sort of protect your building. So I hope you have a whole lot of fun playing around with seeing who can create structures that can survive the earthquake. And clearly, mine don't survive. So, can you improve on my design? Where'd I go wrong? Hope you have some fun. And remember, videos are good. One-on-one is better. Read with your kids. See you next time. Bye.